What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What's up, family? It is finally Friday for me anyway. The Titans beat the Packers tonight 27-17. The Packers have not been on a winning streak in a while. I'm laughing because Elon Musk, a lot of people think Twitter is ending, and Elon Musk said, and we just hit another all-time high in Twitter usage. A lot of people are thinking it's ending due to Twitter's going to go down because a lot of people are leaving the company. Ex-Twitter's employees are pitching themselves to investors. Just a lot of people think that Twitter's coming to an end, but Elon continues to be like, no, it's not going anywhere, regardless of popular belief. For some reason, Mastodon is trending. Elon Musk is blocking links to Mastodon. I guess that's a new site. Someone says, okay, if Twitter dies soon, suddenly looking like a real possibility, I do have a Mastodon account. I've never even heard about Mastodon. Someone said, if you're going to get on Mastodon, I would like to apologize in advance for being the guy responsible for posts like being called toots. I thought it was funny, and it is. It's even funnier that some people hate it. I take it back. So, what are people saying about Aaron Rodgers? So I guess Marshawn Lynch interviewed Aaron Rodgers, and I guess it was a funny interview. Let's see if we can get a snippet of it. We might not be able to, but who cares, right? Let's see what else is going on around this place we call America. North Korea fires suspected ICBM. It's second this month. That is a missile. A Phoenix man is suspected in the deaths of his wife and 3 young children before fatally shooting himself. Rest in peace to those people. This Ticketmaster thing with Taylor Swift, where some of her tickets are $90,000, absolutely crazy. Actor Candace Cameron Bure faces backlash from celebrities and LGBTQ influencers following her recent comments that she will prioritize portraying traditional marriage in her new TV project. But Candace is, sticking to her traditional family values of Christian, so she left Hallmark. Authorities have identified the man whose foot was found floating in the Yellowstone National Park, Hot Springs, 3 months ago. He's been identified. Since Latinos are among the youngest racial and ethnic groups in the country, with a median age of 30, it's almost impossible to understand Latino voters without recognizing their connection to the nation's youth vote. Abortion, gun control were top issues driving young Latinos to vote. The Uvalde officer who was leading the city's police department during the hesitant law enforcement response to an elementary school shooting that killed 19 children and 2 teachers has stepped down. So a lot of them are stepping down. For attendees at the Republican Governors Association conference, the lesson for midterms was a less of a departure from policies they promoted on campaign trail and more a signal to move away from the Trumpist type messaging. So I think they're learning that young voters aren't into that stuff. Former President Trump and his two eldest sons signed the checks the Trump Organization's chief financial officer used to cheat on his taxes, but they didn't know it was fraud. Shocker. Nancy Pelosi is leaving her post, so they are looking at who's going to be the next Democrat speaker. Let's see what else is going on. More than 500 homes in Scottsdale, Arizona were run out of water by the year's end as drought tightens its grip on the West. At least 21 people were killed and several others injured when a fire broke out in a building where residents attended a party on the Gaza Strip, health and civil emergency officials say. Rest in peace to those people. A Southern California motorist was arrested and booked on suspicion of attempted murder following a runway crash that injured 24 Los Angeles County Sheriff trainees. Wow. They definitely had to be under influence, right? WNBA star Brittney Griner has begun serving her 9-year sentence for drug possession at the Russian penal colony, her lawyers and agent tell. There's so many stories coming out about her. They can't find her. She's doing hard labor. This is what I'll say as a veteran. When my first duty station was Korea, they told the military, the United States government told us, if you commit any crimes, the Americans cannot intervene for you. And mostly everybody is aware of that. If you go to, even if you're not a soldier, if you go to Dubai or anywhere and you commit a crime, you're under, the American can't really do much for you. So I really don't, I'm sad for her that she's locked up, but I don't feel sorry for her because she should have known better. That's just my thing. What else do we want to talk about that's worth talking about? Layoff of thousands of employees, firings and engineers openly critical of his ownership, and impersonation causing a pharmaceutical company's stock to drop. Here's a complete timeline of Elon Musk's takeover. A state house candidate in South Dakota was arrested on a rape charge just 8 days after losing his race against the incumbent candidate, his mother. Wow. This story is strange. So, Bud Marty, 37, arrested in Box Elder around 4 a.m. Sunday and charged with second-degree rape. Court filing said the criminal complaint alleges may also force coercion or threats of immediate and great bodily injury against the victim. Referring to law enforcement reports at a court hearing Tuesday, the judge said officers found the victim hiding behind a bar and she alleged that May had raped her, the newspaper in Sioux Falls reported. And yeah, he was running for office and he lost his mother. Several studies have revealed that COVID vaccines can induce short-term changes in your menstrual cycle. A growing number of researchers are calling for further study. The white man suspected of killing 10 black people in a racist mass shooting at a grocery store in Buffalo in May will enter a guilty plea of a 25-count state indictment. Let's see what else we want to talk about. The news is also, so the new CEO and restructuring officer of FTX issued a stirring indictment of the company's operation in court filings. Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate control. So this is this FTX cryptocurrency dude. The new CEO of FTX issued a searing indictment of the company's operations Thursday in a court filing as part of the company's ongoing bankruptcy. The new CEO and restructuring officer John Ray wrote that the company had a striking lack of financial records, internal communications, or even a clear idea of who worked there. Never in my career have I seen such a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information as occurred here. Ray, who noted that he has more than 40 years of legal and restructuring experience, including overseeing Enron when it declared bankruptcy, wrote in the filing, Bahamas-based FTX had reigned until earlier this month as one of the largest cryptocurrency exchanges in the world and was valued at $32 billion until its finances came crashing down in recent weeks. Its lawyers had indicated it may have more than 1 million creditors, and Reuters has reported that two unnamed sources said more than $1 billion in clients may be missing in clients' funds. NBC has not verified these reports. Ray took over as the CEO once Bankman-Fried stepped down on Friday. Bankman-Fried and FTX did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Throughout his filing, Ray insisted that the financial records of organizations overseen by Bankman are frequently non-existent or untrustworthy. It has so far only secured $740 million of cryptocurrency, a fraction of the digital assets of the group. In the filing, his reviews are blah, blah, blah. Pretty much this guy, he's going to get time. He's locked up already. Yeah. He was on the run, if what I heard. Let's see here. They say he transferred assets to the Bahamas governor after his arrest. Maybe he was expecting to stay there or them save him or something. Who knows? I just know I'm too old to mess around with crypto, so I just don't even mess with it. I'm just an old lady that the closest you're going to get out of me is a debit card. The debtors thus have credible evidence that the Bahamian government is responsible for directing unauthorized access to debtor systems that took place after the announcement. So I know the U.S. is probably going to try to come for the Bahamas government, but it's all very much a sticky situation. Let's see what else is going on before we get into our stories, because I have some stories for you. So this German man was awarded with a measly 6 bags of candy after returning a $4.8 million check to Haribo. Those are the gummy bear people. Man, they could have at least gave him a life supply. The Attorney General is probing those Taylor Swift tickets that were resold for $20,000, because what it is it's those freaking promoters are buying all those things. What else we got going on? Woman files for divorce after her mother-in-law reveals her son's ex-wife and kids. This was an interesting story. A man's lie ruined his marriage. His wife filed for divorce in a chokehold. The wife, Chalman, she's African or something, poured her pain into an Instagram post after finding out that the love of her life was keeping at least 4 skeletons in the closet. The post highlighted her decisions to file for divorce after learning her husband's past from his mother. This was the best month of my life. I had no regrets whatsoever. I just won't settle for a lie regardless. She wrote in caption, I forgive easily. I remember asking you about this several times before we started. Finding out today from your mom really broke me. A foundation built on a tiny life won't stand. I love how you loved me, but hey, how you never mentioned your divorce nor kids to me. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this. It's just, I don't know. Because listen, like, people lie, and believe me, marriage is not perfect. It happened. He didn't have an affair, but he had an ex-wife. So I'm just trying to understand why I can see if you postpone the wedding, but to completely like break up and everything, if you swore that was just the love of your life, it's kind of kind of crazy to me, but that's just me because, man, if everybody did that, if everybody broke up their marriages over a lie that has nothing to do with cheating or stealing, nobody would be married. Believe me. Marriage is not perfect. Like, people do dumb stuff. Let's see what else. A woman mysteriously disappears after a romantic match on Craigslist. Boyfriend not charged despite unsettling evidence. This is back in 2019. She moved from Kenya to the United States to follow her dreams of becoming a nurse. However, she is now missing. Not long after arriving to the U.S., she fell in love with the man she met on Craigslist, Nathan Heitman, and moved nearly 800 miles from her home in Idaho to be with him. Her family claims that after the move, the communication with her slowly dwindled until it came to a complete stop. She since they reported her missing, and that boyfriend had been accused of removing money from her account, maxing out her credit card, and deleting her email account, but has yet to be charged with connection. It was later discovered that Hyman was Gawka's own credit card to purchase a boots and shovel. However, Hyman insists Gawka left him, and he has no idea where she could be. There would be more disappearance than meets the eye. Yeah, that's sad. Man, you gotta be safe. I mean, shoot, man. Ugh, yuck. It's a yucky story. Let's get into these messy stories, because these stories that I'm playing for you suck. All right, let's go ahead and go.
That Christians can be racist. And also, why do you think that talking about racism in church is still kind of awkward or almost taboo for Christians?
Well, Christians can definitely be racist.
Yep.
In fact, some of the racist rhetoric was coming from the church. There was Jim Crow laws that was passed in the South, and some people believed that segregation was a godly thing. Not sure what scripture they were using for that one, because I got other scriptures to say the opposite.
Yep.
And I'm also a little weary of people that might be tired of this topic. You know, like 2020 happened, why don't we leave it alone?
Yeah.
And it's almost this pressure, like, let's keep putting our head in the sand and act like this isn't a problem.
Right.
But as long as we live in a fallen, broken world, there's going to be all kinds of isms, sexism, racism, whatever the isms are, and we have to address it. That's what we do. You know how people say, don't talk about politics, religion, and now you got to put the third one into race. Instead of being empathetic and wanting to listen and wanting to learn, I think sometimes we might judge and say, well, I feel like I already know everything about this. Or maybe that doesn't even apply to me. I just think it's one of those touchy topics that we shouldn't run from, but run to.
I love how he put this, and I work in corporate America, and I think, like, yes, you have, like, you can discuss politics, you can discuss religion, now, I agree, some things can get heated, but if you can, like, I know we have diversity training and all those things, but I definitely think there needs to be a place where we can have open dialogue about the differences of our culture, because let's just face it, there are differences, and like he said, as long as you live in this world, there's always going to be an ism, because people just don't have the background, they just don't understand, and I've worked with a lot of people of different cultures and races. They've taught me stuff, I've taught them stuff. I mean, we were saying the R word for mentally challenged people for a while, and we adapted to know that's wrong. So if you don't learn those things and you say don't talk about it, you're going to constantly offend people. And it's a way to let somebody know that they offended you and see if they're just naive to the fact or they don't know. And believe me, I was in the military. I was around a lot of different people. I learned a lot. I taught them a lot. They taught me a lot. I became friends with people that had never even like been friends with a black person or been around a black person. So it's like when we shut each other down, don't talk about that, that's taboo, we never grow, we never learn. So I think that is put beautifully. Let's go to the next one.
He's been arrested. Sam Bankman-Fried has been arrested in the Bahamas. Wow. And his girlfriend or wife or whatever she is, Caroline, has already fled to Hong Kong in an attempt to get to Dubai to prevent extradition back to the United States.
So they really were on the run. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this case.
very immature. Anyway, no, you listen.
And they do. And you also, that's another thing. That's something I speak on. As a transracial adoptee, my parents were ill prepared by the state, by the adoptive agency, by CSS, Catholic Social Services, and just by yourself. You did a little bit of work to try to figure out how to work with my hair and work my African heritage. I give you props when I talk about this. But the state itself was ill prepared to talk about systematic racism, systematic oppression, like all of those things that'll make me different from any other child that I was with. I've been doing interviews with Mrs. Hutchinson, Mrs. Massengill, my old foster parents. Everyone said it, Mom. Everyone said it.
What are you going to do? Try to sue me?
No, I'm not trying. Actually, yeah, I am going to try to sue you and the state because you guys owe me money.
So see what I mean about not knowing things? This guy, he was adopted, a transracial adoption. Interesting. Basically, he's a black guy that was placed with white people, and he said that they didn't know what they were doing. None of us know it. That literally just proves what I absolutely just said. We're all just doing the best we can. That's all. Let's go to the next one.
I wish people would stop asking stupid questions when they find out that they got cheated on. What do women ask? Did you love her? Does it matter they don't love you or they wouldn't have cheated on you? And the men, did you sleep with him? Does it matter? He either did or he was going to. Was he better? Was it bigger? Stupid question. And everybody wonders the same thing. What do they have that I don't? And it's not just people to talk to Scorpios and Geminis. It can happen to anybody. Unless it's about your kids or getting your money and your stuff. If you get cheated on, don't ask no questions. Just leave.
That was so funny. That was funny and true.
You was on Ruthless and you was on Death Row too. When did you realize, man, that you went from one bad situation to another bad situation?
It didn't take long. I was somewhere with Suge, and he had pushed up on this dude, this old Beverly Hills guy, and he pushed up on him so hard that you could just see the fear of God in that man. And I was like, man, this ain't good, you know. Of course, you never see yourself in the chair that the Beverly Hills guy was in. You don't see yourself in that chair. But common sense would have should have told me then, nigga, that could be you. You know, you ain't from out here. You don't know these guys like that. But chasing that music, man, you know, chasing that music and chasing that money.
So, if you guys didn't know who that was a Diggity Doc, y'all. Asana Rock, y'all. That he was in NWA, and he's just talking about just the things that happen with chasing money, music, and, you know, when you're so focused on that, you know, it could be, you know, affecting. Let's go to the next one.
At 6 years old, never would I have thought that someday I would go from homemaker to house speaker. In fact, I never intended to run for public office. Mommy and Daddy taught us through their example that public service is a noble calling and that we all have a responsibility to help others. In our family, my brother Tommy then became mayor of Baltimore also. But it's been my privilege to play a part in forging extraordinary progress for the American people. I have enjoyed working with 3 presidents, achieving historic investments in clean energy with President George Bush. Transformative healthcare reform with President Barack Obama. And forging the future, from infrastructure to healthcare to climate action with President Joe Biden.
So that was the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi. She is saying goodbye to the White House. Like, I think that whole thing with her and her husband shook her up as it would. I mean, listen, anybody in that position, I wouldn't want to do it. Especially in today's climate of social media, man. So she is finally stepping down. She's had a long list, but she definitely left Trump out of her farewell speech. So it'll be interesting to see who they put up there next. But this has been your news, guys. It's short and sweet. We'll have plenty to talk about, I'm sure, this week. Something is happening every day in the news. You guys stay safe out there. I don't want to have to report on you on this little here podcast. So you guys stay safe out there. Efforts for Family is signing off.